we're live. Are we? No. I'm live. Jeremy, you're not here, and it's not a bit. It's because I'm using the thing that we used when you were in my room. Um, shit. So hi, let me see if I can talk through what's happening, and then also you're here, but you're not audibly here. Um, Welcome to the Have You Played This podcast, where I, Adam Bell, try to manage audio outputs and also introduce you to the show. Yeah. No, it didn't work. Okay, let's get another one. Let's add an audio output capture. Should have done this before. Please help. I'm naming the audio output. The device is going to be the Focusrite USB audio device. And it's not showing up. All right. Sorry, everybody. This is. Where are you? I mean, worst case scenario, we just switch over. Oh shit, that's why. Oh, because I'm in studio mode and it's not saving the changes. All right, let me just get it. Let me just get it going right now. Oh fuck. Here we go. We're just gonna go to this. We're just gonna pretend it's the tabletop college show. Um, are you? You should be able to talk now, Jeremy.
Hello,
Yes, great.
it's me.
Pretend that this is the other overlay. It's that simple. Welcome to the Have You Played This podcast, also known as the Tabletop Call-In Show talk show, also known as the. No, it's just those two. Those are the two names. I'm Adam Bell. You can find me on Twitter at Adamy Bell. I'm running a little slow today, and that's okay.
That's okay.
You can get my games at adamybell.games, which is a real website now for I think the first time in this show's history. So you can go there and buy physical copies, and I will mail them to you, or you'll be, on the pre-order list if it's talking about Legend Has It. But Jeremy, who are you?
Hey, I'm Jeremy Gage. I'm in a different place. You can find me as the host of the Draw Your Dice podcast. You can find all my Umbral Dive updates on the same podcast. And you can find all of that on haveyouplayedthis.com.
.com. Yeah, we're moving here. Um, what have we been doing on that website? Anything?
Tons of stuff. We got a goddamn it newsletter. We got mother effing VODs. We got Christ and Almighty your videos, specialty videos. We got every recent Dibbly Doo podcast episode, which will soon have transcriptions. I just have so much backlogging to do.
That's a lot. There's a lot of episodes of the Draw Your Dice podcast. I gotta say.
Just to give context to people, whatever length an audio file is, multiply that by 4, and that's typically how long it takes to do a transcription. Like if you're like standardly fast. Any slower than that, and just imagine 6 hours of
Have you
listening to stuff on repeat.
have you considered being a stenographer,
No,
and then you could do it in real time? All you gotta do is sign up for a stenography class, and you're good in like a week. I'm sure. It's definitely
no,
not
thank
highly
you.
skilled shit. I'm realizing one problem with us switching to this overlay is I had specifically positioned my camera so that you couldn't see the mess on my table behind me. But now on this overlay, the video is wider, and now I have to look at the laundry that I need to finish folding after the show, the whole show.
No.
I was I was immune to it until now, until my own
Just look at
hubris took
me.
us down.
Just look at me, Adam. Just look me in the eye.
I do both. I usually look at whoever's talking, which feels weird now that I say it out loud, because
I look at
sometimes that's
myself when
me.
I'm talking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, also, good time zone to those hanging out with us today. Plumtree Chloe and C. Framin, and it's Dan Phipps and me. We're all here. Everyone's here.
We're all here.
If you're lurking out there, hello as well. It's okay. Keep lurking. We need that roll in our monster encounter so we can get those squishies in the back. You know what I'm saying?
No, no, I don't want you to
You know what
say
I'm
it.
saying? It's a skirmish game guy thing. You
Okay.
wouldn't get it.
Yeah, no, I probably wouldn't. Dan, yes, stenographers do write in weird code.
That's true.
That is a
Powerful
true
shorthand.
thing.
I
It's
also do a
wild.
lot of shorthand. But you can't shorthand for transcriptions on a podcast because people use e-readers. So need to be considerate of that.
And people, I mean, they also just read it,
Well,
right?
I
I'm
could
not
put
going
a
to be able
key.
to read your shorthand.
Just do a drawing. Just do like an infographic of the episode.
Yeah.
I've been getting really into infographics, by the way.
Is this from writing Umbral Dive related things?
Yes. I'm imagining a single sheet infographic of like to know class information or something like that, or to know region information for the setting or something.
So you've got the main book, which is the core rules, and then you've got a second book, which is all the infographics bound together, and it's just as long.
That you can pass out to the players. Easy
Yeah.
cheesy. Visual digestion.
So it's not a second book; it's like a binder, like a 3-ring binder that comes
Yeah.
with the game.
In the box set.
Uh huh. And just is
Yeah.
that the sound they
Is
make?
that the sound? That's
been a
pretty good. So, today's the talk show, Adam. You're probably going to hear a lot of street noises because I'm really close to the city of this building, and
Yeah,
that's okay.
you're
It
close to the
creates
city, and
ambiance.
it's also like decently. This is not me saying you need to fix anything, but it's
I can't fix the room.
surprisingly echoey as well.
It's it's all brick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
does that mean it's cold too?
No, it's got a good heater. Let me see if I
Oh,
can
okay.
soundproof something.
I mean, it's too late, right? It's not that
Yeah.
big of a deal.
Nope.
Uh, like, what are you gonna do? Pull out some foam boards from under the couch and put them all around
You
you?
mean these? I wasn't even thinking about using these. Um, those are for our audio listeners. I pulled up a fake pantomimed set of foam. Adam, what did you play this weekend?
Um, let's see. So, video game wise, I started playing Mutant Year Zero: Road to Eden because I've been in the mood for something tactical, some sort of tactical game, and so I started playing that one. I don't. We don't really talk about video games much, but I figured I'd throw it out there.
Yeah,
It's cool. I don't know. I don't
we
have.
can talk about video games more on this show.
I don't have like
Soft
much.
pivot into all games.
Well, the thing is, I don't have much to say about it. So I'm gonna move right along. I also
Sure.
played The Zone. When did I play that? I played that on. It might have been Friday and Saturday. We started playing The Zone on Friday, and then we finished it on Saturday. We put this in the. This is another time of me talking about the campaign I've been doing that started with the Grasping Nettles on the moon. We wanted to see what the hell is going on Earth, and so we played The Zone because we were like, what if Earth has got something fucked up happening? Because so far things haven't been that fucked up. And so yeah, we played The Zone. If for anybody that doesn't know it, The Zone is a game by Raf D'Amico, who has called in the past and honestly talked about it a little bit. But mechanically, The Zone is like it's a card based tabletop role playing game that is inspired heavily by things like Annihilation, where you're playing as an expedition that is heading into the zone. And what that means for you, the player, is that you're playing somebody on a doomed mission to a place that is kind of fucked up. And like mechanically, one of the big things that the game tries to stress to you is that like everybody but one person will die, and so like, but won't die until until they're fated to die. So like try to play the game and try to push your character in places because you know that they're not going to die. They're just going to get messed up a bit until they die. So like that's like an interesting framework I think to build that game out of. I can't look at this. What am I looking at? You don't have to change it, but it did do something to your audio. You, your audio's gone, Jeremy. You're trapped in the nightmare. Is it back?
Oh, it's because I'm muted.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So happenstance. What was the deal? What was I talking about?
Zone. You were
Oh yeah,
playing
so
it.
so it's an interesting framework of like you're going to die one by one towards the end of this game because it does allow for a little bit more like pushing on your characters and people like putting other people's characters in dangerous situations, right? Because a lot of I think GMless games can suffer from like, ooh, I don't want to say anything about your thing. I don't want to say. I don't want to like. I don't want to make your character in a situation that you don't want to make your character in a situation. But whenever you are playing a game that is a horror game that is GMless, that also your fates are already sealed at the end of the game, I think it kind of removes some of that in a way that was pretty nice.
Mm.
So the
Yeah.
structure of the game. Oh, do you have something to say?
No, go ahead.
I was just going to explain the game because that's what people on podcasts do, I think.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
The structure of the game is right now it is a fully digital game, and I think there are plans for a physical copy that were the original plans, but that got shelved whenever the pandemic hit. And so he made this like wonderful digital version of the game that like handles everything for you and flips the cards, and there's fancy animations and seamless player integration, and all everybody was going ooh and ah the whole time. Anytime something new in the UI happened, it was like, ooh, whoa. Games don't do this. We're used to fucking bashing our head against Roll20. Having a game or something facilitate a tabletop game for you in a way that like isn't just immensely getting in your way every step of the way isn't it, that's new. That's a new feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the game itself, it's this card game. There's this like spiral of cards laying down on the table to set up the game. Each of the spirals is like a new location, which I assume are like randomly selected. And so you kind of go through each one. So you start like at base camp, you move into the boundary, and then I think the rest are are randomly generated. So we had like a lab and a prison and whatever. So it's like this city that was sucked into some sort of zone or some sort of anomaly happened to it, and you're exploring it. So each location you set a scene, you explore what your characters are doing there, and there are like three actions that like really drive the game. There is the what's the first action? There's take stock. Take stock is where you um, each player like says one sentence about like a sensory input that's happening in the scene. So like that is a really great thing to have in a game because it's like things start to slow to a halt and then somebody just clicks the take stock button and then everybody's like, "Oh, here, let's do it real quick, Jeremy." The Tabletop Call-in Show smells like French fries.
Ooh.
And then you add one.
Oh. All right, let's see. The tabletop call-in show smells like. No, tastes like snozberries.
Great. Yeah, so now we move forward with the scene, we explore that, we enjoy that. The second move is simply something's not right. And so that's when somebody's doing something, right? And you want to make it spookier. And so you hit You do the something's not right action, and you say like, oh, something's not right about that. What's an action that you're doing, Jeremy?
About right now, I'm smashing something. I'm sitting here looking at this plant.
Ooh, something's not right about that uh, about that plant. The leaves all have increasingly angry little faces.
They're moving, dude.
And so the second part of the something not right move is that a different player that didn't say something's not right jumps in with, and it's even worse than that, and then makes it worse.
Uh, uh, they're like little helicopters, like little angry faced helicopters. They're coming off the plant, dude.
Those leaves are gonna attack your head with an aerial bombardment. Yeah,
They're gonna
and so
plant
like,
seeds in my brain.
and then immediately you're going to be sprouted. Your brain is going to have a bunch of little sprouts that will themselves have faces, and they will begin talking for you. That's
We love
horrible.
that.
No, we don't.
Is that
That's
my new D&D character? My new druid?
hmm yeah. Your new druid is somebody that got attacked by helicopter plants and
Yeah.
was forever changed.
Yeah, now we're just Legion, dude. We're the Forest Legion.
So yeah, that's something's not right. That's also very good in a horror game because it helps spice things up a little bit and get people to like just chime in with something gross. And finally, there is the not so easy action, which is where whenever you're doing a thing like that would normally be rolling dice in a game, you just draw one of these not so easy cards, and they either say yes and, yes but, no and, or no but, with then some extra text um, for what that and or but is. So it'll be like, you're trying to jump from rooftop to rooftop, sure, and you'll draw a card and it'll say yes, but the zone mutates you in a way that is the only reason you succeeded.
Oh god. Force mutation.
Yeah, there's a lot of your characters mutating in this game because of that stuff. So I mean, what how does your character mutate whenever you jump from rooftop to rooftop? What
Oh,
how did that make you survive?
bat wings. Or little webbings. I get like a my own skin webbing that's like a glider suit.
Great. And now you have that. You're kind of gross. So I've got my little notepad because I played it at this very desk. My first mutation was that I could smell electricity.
Oh god.
It never really came up. I couldn't figure out a
Damn
way to
it.
make it interesting, but it was kind of interesting. The second thing was my legs started turning into vines, and we were in Alaska cross country skiing through the zone, and so like these vines wrapped around the skis. That was a whole situation. Um, Dan's asking what the electricity smelled like. It smelled like whenever if you have like a cheap blender and you're putting too much frozen fruit in it, or
No.
any other cheap motor based object that is working too
Yes.
hard. And it's
Yes.
like
Ugh.
ozony. Um, the next thing was I grabbed a briefcase and my hand fused to it. We don't have to get into what happened after that because somebody took the briefcase from me and then my hand started being stretchy. It's not important.
Sounds like we're getting into it.
Actually, we do kind of have to get into it because the next thing that my character mutated into was that stretchy hand wrapped around a gun that he tried to fire to prevent it from being fired, and just encased permanently this gun in it. It's fine.
Ultimately, you're just Mr. Fantastic.
No, but not cool, not useful. Not you can't do it at will, really.
You prevented a gunshot though, and
No, no, no.
you attached yourself to skis.
He was trying to shoot the gun. The hand that was holding the gun enveloped the gun
Uh
because the
oh.
zone prevented him from shooting it.
Oh.
And so now there was just a
Oh.
permanently like wrapped around gun. Yeah. Pretty bad. So yeah, that was the zone. My character was the one that survived because only one character survives, and it's like randomly generated at the start of the game. So Penny Taskman is out there because we built it into the setting that we were doing. What? It's the setting where like there's this life lengthening compound that they found on the moon that rich people took to live 100 plus years that is now running out. So Penny
Mm.
Taskman was one of those people, and so he went into this zone trying to find a way to still live forever. And let me tell you, he nailed it. At what cost? It's not important. It's really not important what it took.
It's just all the friends we sacrificed along the way.
Mm-hmm. So
Awesome.
that's what I've played. I
Yeah.
recommend it.
We had if anyone's curious, I do have an interview with Raf D'Amico about the zone in earlier episodes of the podcast. Season 2, I think, episode 7. I only know that because I just numbered them all yesterday.
Okay, you actually do know that. I thought you were just making up some numbers. Cause
So yeah. Yeah,
cool.
it's a good game. It's very cool. It does I think it was during the time where I was really getting interested in digital content, like bringing the tabletop space to a more streamlined digital experience. And I know that there are people that play like board games on Tabletop Simulator and stuff like that,
Yeah,
um,
but
and other
that's not
VTTs.
streamlined at all.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's closing the gap between analog and digital in terms of like the two extremes: a uh, video game and playing Cranium at your house.
Those are
I
the
just don't
extremes.
imagine Cranium being a good digital experience in the current tech.
You don't see the Play-Doh, Roll 20
It's
Play-Doh
not gonna
coming
work.
out.
Not gonna work. Roll 20. Well, if you use Blender, that could be cool, but then everyone has to have a
Everybody has to
dissertation
know.
in Blender to play.
Right. Everybody has to know Blender well enough that they can whip something up in the 60 seconds you get to mold clay in that game.
Shortcuts be damned.
Um,
Oh, Christ.
shit. Yeah,
Cranium VR, yeah.
it was pretty cool because it was like it had the flashy card flipping around and spinning everywhere animations of like a video game deck builder, but wasn't that at all. And that is pretty cool. The really annoying thing is it made me want to figure out how the hell he made that and make one for a game of my own.
It'd
But
be a
yes,
total good resource, like for Legend Has It or something like that, like a digital version of Legend Has It, or
yeah,
even Grasping Nettles. Actually, both, yeah, both of them would be really
okay.
cool in
Don't get.
that same sort of example.
I was thinking for uneasy lies the head, but now you're trying to fill
Oh,
my eyes with ideas.
also that.
That's a problem.
It's all digital, baby. There was a
Yeah.
fucking I remember watching a video about a D&D like virtual reality thing that was actually pretty cool, but I can't remember what exactly it was called. Is it Node? No, that's not it. I don't know. It'll come to me. I'll say something about it on the Twitters or in the Discord or something like that if I remember. Oh yeah, and one more multiverse. Yeah, one more multiverse is super cool. They're doing really cool things with like sprite generation and art assets and everything like that. I don't know. I don't know if I would consider one more multiverse to work for like a more board game centric style game. I feel like part of the crux is, well, I mean, I haven't looked at it in a little while, but I feel like part of the crux is kind of avatar driven. Like you have to have some sort of player vessel uh, thing.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't know.
curious about it because it is for people that don't know what the multiverse is like a kind of a virtual tabletop that is going in a way different direction than the other ones that
Mm-hmm.
exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know more about it than me? Because probably
It's
if you want to
kind of
explain it
like
all.
if you can imagine a customizable um, Final Fantasy Tactics or Disgaea or Fire Emblem or something like that, where you can insert your own sprites for like monsters and players and customize all of like the resource trackers and sort of like custom code to get your game to fit in there. Like you could figure out how to articulate Blades in the Dark mechanics, or you know, um, anything that really requires like a dice or a card artifact. But they're doing tons of work over there. I know that it's still in beta, which
Closed
you,
beta.
yeah, closed beta, still in closed beta, which has been a long time. I first got hip to multiverse in I think 2018.
Damn.
I think it was 2018. So they've been in closed beta for a really long time. Stardew Valley vibes for sure. I watched someone make
Stardew
a
Tactics.
farm. Yeah, Stardew Tactics. Where's that crossover, dude? Um, but yeah, still in closed beta. So I would love to get my hands on it. It's just one of those things where I wasn't part of the Kickstarter for it, so
Yeah.
I missed the boat on that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of money in that.
Yeah,
Which is how you can make something cool, is if you have a budget.
yeah. They have a really cool design team. I also have an interview with one of the co-founders and lead programmers, um, Sarah and Sarah Appleby and Janie Janie Jaff, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly their last names. So yeah, you can listen to that episode as well.
Cool. How many people have you interviewed? Like 1,000?
Uh, with released episodes, I've interviewed 65 people, 65 different people, and with what's still to come for the year, I think I have like 13 episodes to come out or something like that.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a
That's quite
lot
a
of
lot.
people. There's some repeats this year of alumni, just kind of like checking in with them and seeing how things are going on certain projects we talked about. And yeah,
What have you been playing, Jeremy? What do you got going on?
playing. So I bought Root, which we talked about last week. So I don't need to re-get into that. If you want to learn all about Root, listen to the last episode. We and Adira go in. Um, but let's see. Got a game called Dice Throne, which does some like cool Yahtzee stuff. Um, it's okay. I think that it could have been pushed a little bit more in some directions. Like I don't. I think when I played it with you, we talked about how like the it just seems like a lot of um, different pieces that are not cohesive. Right. I think that was one of your kind of
Yeah,
like feedbacks about the game.
to me, it felt like there was a lot of pieces going on, but like ultimately, it is just battle Yahtzee, which means
Yeah.
ultimately it's just every like pointing guns at each other around a circle, and then like kind of whoever dies dies because somebody's just gonna die, and it's not necessarily, at least with more than two people. We didn't play it with two people, but with the 3 player game, it was definitely like kind of random, but like in a way that I didn't mind, because it did feel like I was choosing how to optimize every given turn, and like that felt nice. But I
Mm-hmm.
think any given turn's effect on the final outcome was borderline irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because like somebody was going to win, and it was just going to be like whoever's dice came up right in the right time. um Regardless of like the good moves, I think everybody was doing, and that would be different, I think, if somebody was like playing like extraordinarily poorly, I guess. Like if somebody was making the wrong choices, that stops being true. But once you have a 3 player game where everybody's like kind of making the right choices, it will just end how it wants to, and
Mm-hmm.
that's fine.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, Dice Throne is a like competitive Yahtzee battler where you have heroes The moves you can use are determined by your Yahtzee roll, based on like symbols and number combinations on the dice, and then you just sort of like fight it out. But one thing I realized as you were talking about that, I think uh, what the game wants to do is kind of it wants you to play like a risk management game of, well, I don't know when I'm going to roll my powerful ability, so I want to save this like card in my hand or these tokens on my board to use for that.
I didn't even know there
With
were supers until I was dead.
Yeah, ultimates, and I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I think it is more RNG than it seems. Like it likes to tote like asymmetrical class design, uh, but the classes can be really difficult to play just solely based on the odds and how their combinations for their powers are constructed. For instance, the monk is kind of a cool character, but it is wicked hard to play because one of your best abilities is wrapped up in like a single 17% chance of the dice. It's like you have to roll a 3 plus a bunch of other symbols to get the thing that you want, and that's just as hard as rolling a 6 because it's a single number. Um, and so, yeah, I think it has some shortcomings. There's like a really good like fan base. I know there's like tournament play and things like that, but
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of those shortcomings aren't as prevalent in the 1v1 because it seems
yeah,
like, I mean, when it's not just like a rotating circus, like
yeah,
your decisions will matter a little bit, but when it's a rotating circus and everybody is mechanically prompted to just attack the person that has the most health,
hmm,
even when those health numbers are like plus or minus one, like, oh shit, I have one more than the person next to me, so I'm the one that dies first now. When
yeah,
it's just
yeah,
you're attacking one other person, that's probably either, I can't. You've played it, so I guess you could speak more on it. But it does seem like that's what it's designed for. It's like playing Magic with three people. Like, it's not. You're gonna have an okay time, but
yeah.
it's not what it's
But
for.
it's not gonna be like the high stratagems. That's why I like Commander. Like a 4-person Commander pod is the politics of that game. Chef's kiss.
I bet. The last
Uh,
time, maybe the only time I've played the four-person commander, it wasn't good. But that wasn't
oh
anybody's.
no.
That wasn't Magic's fault. I don't think it was a situation where I was given a deck and then told every step of the way how to use it.
Oh god. Don't you just love that?
I get it. I was asking questions. I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do here? Like, I was trying to learn the deck. So, like, this isn't necessarily a critique of that. But what it does mean is that both of our decks were operating exactly how they should, and they were better decks than the opponent's decks. And so there was just no chance. Like, the chance of, like, me as a new player messing up, like messing up this game of Magic and making it balanced, even though I have a better deck, was taken out because all of my questions were given answers to.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well, it's that thing of like, who are you playing? Are you playing two people in two decks? Or are you playing one person in two decks? Right? Like,
there's definitely one person, two decks
yeah, definitely a one
against I
person
think
two.
two people, two decks, and well, our one friend, he does get frustrated a little bit.
No. Oh.
He's fine. It was fine, but we won like pretty bad. It was just, I don't know. Magic's a really weird game.
Yeah.
I gotta say.
It's a big game.
Yeah.
It's a big game. Really, really, it's a good analysis in how to do and how not to do balance in a
All at
lot of
once.
ways.
Yeah.
All at
It just
once. All
depends
at
on
once.
where you look.
Actually, I mean, League of Legends is its own game, but obviously, but they talk a lot about how instead of creating a perfectly balanced game, they try to create a perfectly imbalanced game by shifting the meta around, by improving or nerfing uh, different characters throughout the season. So I find that really interesting too, in that like you just change up what's good by tweaking some numbers, and then it kind of causes people to play other champions that they may not be familiar with, or create team combinations that you haven't seen in a little while. So that's a pretty fascinating concept. Is perfect imbalance.
Yeah. So you're saying that they like change the balance of characters just throughout
Mm-hmm.
the season. So it's like if I'm really
Yeah.
good at, hang on, let me try to think of a League of Legends character. If I'm killer at Blitzcrank,
Very good.
uh, it like they will simply nerf Blitzcrank at some point in the season so that I have to learn a different character.
Yeah, yeah. Or a new hero will come out, and
Mm.
like that will change. Like, oh, it sort of like outdates Blitzcrank's kit or something like that. Um, but yeah, perfect imbalance. It'd be interesting. Like, I don't think I would do this with Umbral Dive. It depends if Umbral Dive goes into a physical version, or a strictly digital version. But it could be interesting to just be like, hey, fighters, they get one more attack in this next season of content.
God.
So learn a new. I don't know. It's, is that fun, or is that detractive? I guess I couldn't really say because I haven't really seen. I don't really have like I guess a framework to look at that sort of executed this. I guess maybe errata stuff. I guess they have done errata like Pathfinder and Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Yeah.
So
But in
that kind of
errata, you can't. I don't think as a designer you can expect players to stumble upon the errata.
yeah. Get a new version of the player's handbook again.
Well,
Christ.
thinking if there are, so Umbral Dive, right, is a game that you're kind of maybe thinking there are player packs and cards that give you all the
Mm-hmm.
abilities and stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there is a world in which you could do like here's a season 2 kit, like there's a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of new cards and then a couple of the core cards are swapped out with the new balance changes and it's like season 1 is still perfectly playable, you don't need to buy this, but if you're into it and want things to change a little bit and feel fresh, maybe give
Yeah.
the season 2
Interesting.
kit, fighters get an extra swing.
Yeah. Interesting. Fighters also get magic because they need it, dude. Uh, Christ. Whole other conversation. Otherwise, I've just been researching a ton of games. I learned about a game called Samurai Spirit, which is really cool. Definitely influencing like how when from I was born June 5th, 1990 in California. Let me start from the beginning. Uh, but I when I started redesigning the combat for Umbral Dive, I learned about like Doom 2016 and how they like did combat or battle design.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about like dungeons and MMOs, and how there's always like a key arena fight, and then there is a transition fight where like you're picking up packs of mobs or trash. You're dealing with
Trash.
those. That's what they're called. Taking out the trash, dude.
Uh-huh.
And it's just this thing like in Doom, it's a combination of like small enemy waves and platforming and using those tools before you get to the next arena, and then you have the puzzle of the arena. So Samurai Spirit is really inspiring like how I want to execute transition fights, because then that will decide how hard your like key arena fights are,
Okay.
and depending on how quickly or how many enemies you can get rid of battling through that in that time limit. But anyway, Samurai Spirit is this game where you have characters, samurai characters. It's kind of based on a Seven Samurai movie concept, and you have a play mat, which is a village, and it has village tokens, barricade tokens, and then family tokens. And your characters have to engage with bandits and raiders by adding up their scores, and they're trying to manage their scores using different samurais' battle abilities. So, for instance, um, if you can imagine with me a rectangle, a vertical rectangle with a samurai character on it, on the right hand side of that card is a set of numbers 1 through 10. That's called the combat line. On the left hand side of the card, you have three symbols: family, uh, village and samurai. It's like a little samurai hat thing, a little straw hat. So that's on the left side. So that's your defense side, and then the numbers are your combat side. And whenever you draw a raider card from the deck, you have to decide if you're fighting it or if you're supporting another character for your turn. If you choose to fight, you flip the card over, and you have to assess where you want that card to land. If you want it on the right-hand side, you have to deal with the number and the penalty that the raider gives you. So, for instance, the raider might say like a 2 in the top left-hand corner of the card and have a symbol for like burning down a barricade, for instance, or you're unable to support another samurai for the next turn. You have to pay the penalty at the top of your turn. And so if you did offense, you put the bandit over on the right-hand side. It takes the marker and it moves it from 0 to 2. If your score ever exceeds, in this example, that 10, you lose a barricade and your samurai dies.
Wait, you lose a barricade for that? Is this
Yeah,
another rule I've missed?
It's when it goes above your ki, you lose a barricade.
I didn't know you lose a barricade. Wow, this game's even harder than I
Oh
thought.
yeah, you have the game. I'm not even looking at the stream, dude. I'm looking at the camera, and I'm fucking trying to get everyone at home to. Well, this is for the podcasters.
Yeah, I'm making them. I'm giving the visual guide while you go.
I love that you're like trying to find the card. I'm just catching up. It's so funny. But on the left-hand side of the card, you have your defense. So if you don't want to deal with a particular number, you can only defend as many bandits as you have a symbol matching. Anyways, this is all to say that I think what I want to execute is that I want the player characters to have kind of roles that manipulate open field. And instead of doing like HP values, I think they're trying to manage enemy pressure. And if they can manage the pressure of all the enemies, they can just move on and say like you were able to overcome this encounter. If they can't, they deal with whatever enemies they can, and then the enemies that they couldn't deal with cause some sort of penalty to the players, and they'll show up in the key encounter. Like there'll be additional waves of ads during that encounter, which I find really fascinating. It also allows you to move slowly or quickly through like a dungeon space. So like the more pressure you're feeling, the less you can move or take like movements to explore the dungeon and find the key arena areas. So those are like some loose Samurai Spirit thoughts I have.
Cool.
It's a cool game. I think it's a cool game. I'd love to play it. You were talking the other day that it's pretty difficult to win.
It's so hard, and it's even harder now because I was missing that roll. I'm still reeling over that you lose a barricade. I thought we were finally, after years, finally playing it right. The last time I played, and the answer is no.
It's got a lot going on.
A lot of little rules. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this channel, but there is what's it called? Watch It Played, I think is what the channel is called. It's got
with the Canadian guy.
Yeah. I think he explains games really well. He's got like the whole like show hand thing going on. He writes the script, so you're getting all the mechanics that you need to know. And then I watched a gameplay of Samurai Spirit with him and his son has the same like hand etiquette for like when the camera zoomed in. It's like you can see here that I've placed my marker on the floor. I'm like, Jesus, he's a part of this now.
Well trained.
Anyways, cool game. Very cool game. Very inspiring.
Yeah, very hard to play. Well.
And the other thing that was inspiring is that it has modular difficulty.
Yeah.
In that it like how many barricades you start with. It has like an easy, a normal, a hard, and an extreme mode. It's like 4 levels of difficulty. So that was really interesting to think about because I don't want to do leveling in Umbral Dive. I just want like complexity changes. So if you're dealing with an easy encounter, maybe the enemies only have like 1 or 2 abilities. Whereas if you're doing like a boss fight, you have to deal with like the boss's 4 mechanics, and then you have to deal with the layers 4 mechanics that sort of like overlap on top of each other. So That's kind of what I'm shooting for. And you can change out like your the abilities you have at any one time in your kit.
Here's
So
a,
that's sort of like your customization.
here's a question. In Samurai Spirit, the like most important mechanic to figure out how to use well is the like there's one where you can hand your power to another player, but then you kind of
Yeah.
skip your turn. You bringing that in?
Yes. Yes, I
Oh hell
am.
yeah!
Yes. Yeah. It's so good because I
It's
really
really good.
love the like for example, for anyone who hasn't played the game or isn't familiar, each samurai comes with like a special ability. For example, one power is that they can pass a 1, 3, or 5 value to another samurai left or right of them, and then they can decide how they want to fight that
Hmm.
raider. So, like, if your combat line is all filled up and you draw that 3, and you're like, okay, I can't take this, I can't put this anywhere, and it would put me over my battle pressure limit, I'm going to pass this to, like, our more opened up guy. But you can also, in a multiplayer game, pass your support token to other characters, and they can use all of those support abilities in a combat, which is really cool.
Yeah, so you could pass to maybe there's one player who's on the verge of going over the battle threshold. And so the player that has the you can pass one, threes, and fives can give their power to that player. And the player that has you can pass twos, fours, and sixes can give it to that player. So now that player draws a card and just can sling it to somebody else.
Yeah,
Guaranteed.
yeah. There are
Or
also some characters that can fight more than once in a turn, which is really powerful. There are some heroes that can ignore penalties because they're
mhm.
more like tanky style characters. So I'm just thinking about like, um, for instance, there's a role called the Saboteur in Umbral Dive, and for instance, on the sort of like samurai spirit zoomed out level of combat, you might be able to like displace enemies or push them over to other allies to like help deal with different pressure. And you could probably like pass that on or do like combos. I think it's going to be a little less passing on a support ability, a little bit more like team attack
Mhm.
stuff. So if like your Vanguard and your Saboteur are trying to like manipulate the battlefield this turn, the Vanguard can like remove the pressure of a single enemy, and then the Saboteur can like push another enemy like back onto the Vanguards. They're still maintaining the same amount of pressure, but you've removed an enemy from the fight and lightened someone else's load. I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Here
Yeah,
you are, just taking all these good board game mechanics.
that's good. I also
Proud of you.
discovered a game the other day called Fog of Love.
Mm,
Have you heard of this?
I have. I've got a lot of 2000, maybe 19 me has a lot of thoughts about Fog of Love that I would have to try to remember. But go
Mm.
ahead, keep
Are
talking.
these okay? So Fog of Love is a strictly two-player game. Um, you're basically playing a relationship, and you're working towards um, figuring out how satisfied you are in the relationship. I can't remember what the win condition is, um, but you're drawing all these like scene prompt cards, and you're kind of doing these like blind option guesses of trying to match what your partner wants to do for the day. Like, for instance, you may get a Sunday brunch scene card, or I'm sorry, Sunday fun day scene card, and you're trying to decide what to do for the day, and it gives you like 4 options. And each player has to like place a token face down and see if they pick the same option. If they pick a synced option, they get bonus points for stuff. If they pick mismatched options, they get some points, or some may get no points, or something like that. It also depends on like the traits you pick for your character. It's a cool like dating sim kind of a game that has some really interesting like potential role play slash um, NPC bond tech
Mm,
in it that I'm trying to parse or data mine. Hasn't come to fruition yet, but it's really fascinating,
yeah.
and it's pretty.
A lot of my thoughts. First, I was first exposed to the game when I saw like a Reddit post about it from the creator, where he described like the grand story of the game's creation, which, if you read between the lines enough, was basically his wife didn't like board games, and so he wanted to design one exactly for her. And basically, they were raising their child, but instead he just locked himself in a room and designed this board game for a couple of years and was a bad husband and parent.
No.
And maybe I was reading between the lines too much, but that's basically the description I got. And then I played a demo of it at some point, and I do think a lot of the mechanics are interesting. I think if I'm remembering right, my biggest concern was like a lot of them kind of gear you towards fairly unhealthy relationships without pointing
Yeah.
out that that is what's happening. Like
Yeah.
Sasha and I played it, and we do a lot of thinking about like making sure that our relationship isn't unhealthy, and also what is an unhealthy relationship. And so we were able to recognize like, oh yeah, these characters we're playing, they're not good for each other. But like on the surface level of the game, without it being played by two people that do a lot of that thinking, it just feels like it encourages a lot of shitty behavior as like, wow, what a nice couple.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
It was a lot
Yeah.
on top of like,
Kind of like heavily romanticized sort of stuff.
right, yeah, yeah. On top of just how
Relationships aren't easy,
desperately
people.
straight it is.
They did. I think they added like multi-gender like combinations of stuff, or made it less hetero. But yeah,
Yeah, I think you got to buy the expansion to make it not extraordinarily distressingly straight.
yeah.
Great.
Sunday
That's
Fundays
work.
are inherently toxic by BLG. It's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's an interesting game. Would have to replay it, I think, to bring all of those thoughts back to the surface. But
Yeah.
word of warning, I
Just,
guess, to anybody that might go play it. It's
yeah.
weird.
Just
It's
go watch
weird.
just go watch a little actual play with the Canadian guy.
Yeah.
He does a great job. He does a great job walking through it. I don't know. I'm starting to get addicted to his channel because I'm like, wow, this is a really interesting game, and then he just explains it so nicely.
So you take these curds. Is that, is that what you're? Shit.
Tuesday Juice Day. Yes. Yes. Hype juice. Maybe that's the thing I need to put in my emote. Hype juice. Hashtag
Yeah, we
hype
gotta
juice.
we got work to do. We gotta bring
Yeah, we
together
got
the brand.
Yeah, we got so much taxes.
Come
We
on.
got taxes.
Hey, wait. In order for us
Hey,
to
I
care
love
about taxes, we need money.
Oh shit. Reminder, you can subscribe over on and pay subscription things or donate on haveyouplayedthis.com.
Yeah. And honestly, that's a great transition because we are just about at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
So maybe it's time for us to walk away down the dusty trail.
Yeah. We gotta
Yeah.
figure out a stronger outro, but yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, go to haveyouplayedthis.com. You can get this episode as a VOD. You can check out all the past VODs. You can listen to any episode of Draw Your Dice, any of Adam's videos. Last one was a banger. Adam is a madman when it comes to video editing, and I love it. And also a really good self-organic talker. And wrote a theme song for himself. So, so there's a lot in the first 5 minutes. And so much more after that as we talk about the bell hack and everything. So that's cool. You can also get the newsletter. Definitely need to go get the newsletter because we actually in this week's I put out some links to some fellow I don't know press people who are talking about and doing cool things, and I want to make sure we highlight those people. So
When you
please
say that,
subscribe so that
when you say this week, you mean the one tomorrow, on Tuesday,
yes,
Juice
the
Day,
one
News Day.
yes Tuesday Juice Day News Day. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything to add there, Adam?
No. I'm gonna make a video this week probably. We'll see what it is.
Yeah.
I haven't decided.
As soon as I get done with all the freelance projects I have, I will be getting hard to work on the articles that I owe for the website because I promised those, so
Oh yeah.
those will be coming. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're also kind of front loading all your DYD work for the year
Yes. That is
by
that is
interviewing a
true.
billion people. That
That way I can
takes
focus on writing.
right. But yeah, that'll be all from us here at the Have You Played This podcast. I've been Adam Bell. Find me on Twitter at Adam E. Bell, and go pre-order Legend Has It. If you didn't back the Kickstarter because you don't like Kickstarter, but still want the game, go to adamebell.games and pre-order it now, and you'll get a copy shipped to you whenever those get shipped.
Yeah, we got 700 copies to go through. Yeah.
It's true.
And that's a small fraction of 8 billion gamers finding the right game for them.
Great. Is that it? Did we do everything that we need to say here? Do you have anything else
Did
to add?
you slow fade in the Have You Played This overlay? I don't think so. I think that's everything.
Cool.
Join the community Discord server so you can come chat to us when we're not on the show.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.